Welcome to The Quill and the Quantum, the podcast where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence and the art of writing. I'm your host, Kathy Norris, and in each episode, we'll talk to those authors and other creatives who use or refuse to use AI in their writing process. Today's guests are Vibe Curators and Creators, Mike Sincere and Jezzy B. Mike and Jezzy work mainly in the corporate, live sports, and wedding space as DJs, spinning for events like the LA Lakers and Royal Caribbean and Disney Cruise Lines, to say nothing of brands like Redbull, Adidas, and Nike. I'm going to ask a really silly question first, and that's this. I'm an author, and I included 2 DJ characters in my short story. And you know what the hardest part was? Coming up with their names, because, and I was like, I struggled. And so I got to ask you guys, are there any stories behind the name DJ Mike Sincere and Jezzy B?
Yeah, so mine came from my poetry days when I wrote poetry. Sincere was my handle that my uncle gave me. My Tia's brother, actually, Benny Blanco, gave me the name Sincere, which came from a movie called Belly with Nas and DMX. So that's where my origin of Sincere came from. And then my name was Mike, so that was easy. Just added Mike in front of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I did not know that. I did not know that. Jezzy, what about you?
My name came out of convenience.
Yeah.
There's no backstory on it.
That's what you were called, right? Growing up?
Yeah, just Jezzy, and then my middle name Abby was too hard to say, like Jezzy, DJ Jezzy Abby.
Yeah.
So we just went to Jezzy B, and
that was
it.
And then she loves bees. Like she literally will save a bee.
That's
like if it's dying, she'll grab it, give it food and water, and
Yes, I will.
So you are a gentle soul, Jezzy, it appears. We need more of you on this planet, from what I can see. Well, see, there are stories behind the names. I'm not going to tell you the names I ended up with because I changed them about 6 million times, but there will be a DJ name reveal, very shortly when the next short story comes out.
Can't wait.
But, one of the things I wanted to do, that was my silly question. My serious question, I was fascinated when I went to your web page, and you're described as a curator, a vibe curator.
Yes, that's the best way to put it.
Creator, and so I am all ears, even though my ears are in microphone. I'm all ears, fascinated by what this means.
Yeah, so the Vibe Curator, basically, when you're at a party, right?
Okay.
You want to make sure the atmosphere fits the kind of event it is. So if it's like a corporate event and people are really having a really deep conversation, you don't want to take away from the conversations right away. Like you kind of there's a pre-convo, right? Like when you get to the industry event, everyone just meeting and greeting. You don't want to get too crazy with the party vibes early on. So we create a vibe that's not distracting from what's going on. And then after, let's say after a panel or after a toast, when there's a transition period, then we, everyone got some alcohol in them, they're a little loosened up, and we switch up the vibe to a more party atmosphere. So, some Pitbull or some Shakira, or, some fun house music, So that's basically in a corporate setting, that's where the vibes would happen. And then for sports, because we also do live sports for LMU, and that's a whole different world because you have the younger generation, that are in college at LMU, and then you have the parents of the players.
Yes.
And
so
yes, so you have to cater to them as well. So, and then you also want to play music that is uplifting. Exactly. And then you don't want to play music that's uplifting for the other team when they score. So you have to be
you want bummer music for when the other teams.
Not too hype.
I'm going to jump right into some of the questions here, and it's the first is what I call the section I call the dawning of AI. When did you first hear about AI, And what was your reaction?
I think I've heard about it on like TV shows like the X-Files, like back in the day when they're, you know, having episodes about like the robots like taking over, right? Like, you know, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess it was kind of in the back of our brains, you know, like over the years. But honestly, like to really connect that word AI, like I always knew artificial intelligence existed.
Yeah.
Just never knew the power until the ChatGPT came out and everyone's, you know, going crazy about like it being used for good and also for bad. And that's the thing I haven't tapped into is the ChatGPT part. But everything else, like my computer, my software, my phone, the apps I use, that's when I guess I connected it this year that I've been using AI this whole entire time. I just never knew, you know, where it was coming from.
Oh, Mike, that is such a true statement. I think a lot of people are using AI and don't realize they're using AI, and so they're getting all freaked out about, you know, generative AI, which is a ChatGPT or Bing GPT. That's a little different from what they've been using, and because. And I'm curious because I know as an author, I know some of the things that generative AI can do, but I have no idea in the DJ space how you might use these AI tools. So can you give me some more ideas of how you actually, what AI you use and how you use it in your DJ space?
So the one I currently use is a program called Serato DJ. And that's how I, you know, back in the days when you first started DJing, you would have to bring CDs or like vinyl with you and like carry about hundreds of pounds of vinyl to every single gig because that's how you got your music. But now we use programs like Tidal. So like Tidal is like Spotify. I think it's owned by Jezzy or was owned by Jezzy. Yeah. And we use that for like song requests or for songs that we just don't want to download. So we just like stream it live. We'll stream it live using the music platform that's built into Serato. And that's how we play our song requests now.
Yeah, our song requests. And just sometimes as a backup too, in case you know something doesn't work. It's always good to have a backup on an online device or service.
Yeah, exactly. And then one more thing touch on that. So Serato, what's really cool about it, they actually have digital crates on there. So you could have like an 80s or like 90s and 2000s and, you know, 2010s, you know, disco. You could have house music. You could have like upbeat hip hop, you know, low tempo hip hop. Like you could really go crazy with organizing your crates, and that's all done using AI because it's basically like organizing
it's
your
software.
digital files.
Yeah, and you're using, but it's different from like you're saying the generated AI, because generated AI would be like, all right, Serato, make crates from all my music and from the different genres throughout the history of time, and then it would do it for you. Like this is us actually digging through our crates and using the software. But it is in a way, yes, AI, because we're searching through our songs.
Exactly. And if you go on Spotify and you ask your phone, hey Siri, play the best disco music, right? And then it will just start playing, you know, like some Donna Summer, or it'll play like some really popular disco songs. And as DJs, we could use that, you know, as a tool, because I can literally just be at the gym and like I have a disco party coming up that night, and I'll play like ask my phone to play like the hottest disco tracks, and it'll have everything organized. And I could just, okay, I'm gonna grab this song, put it in my crate, grab this song, put it in my crate.
That's so crazy. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, we use AI like all the time.
Oh, wow.
So I'm wondering, have you ever been surprised by something that was selected for your crate where you were like, well, I wouldn't have selected that on my own, but hey, it kind of works.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tool. Like it's a great tool to have AI at your fingertips. Literally, you can just like tell. I mean, I have a Google Home, I have Alexa, I have all these, you know, things around me that are always capturing and also like giving us back great songs.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll come home and we'll ask, you know, our smart device, like play some jazz music, right? Or play some upbeat 80s music, and we just grab those songs. Like, oh, I'm gonna Shazam this song, or just take note of it and then add it to my crate later on.
Yeah, I know I've gotten into the habit these days on Sundays when my friends over, and we'll be cooking on Sunday breakfast, and it'll be Alexa, play 1950s jazz, you know, and next thing you know, I'm surprised I'm in the room with and I was surprised it didn't start doing it, because it hears me and doesn't know that this is a podcast, and I don't really want her to do it, but but no, it really does change one's approach to the whole idea of owning music or playing music. It is, I don't know what I'm going to do with all my old CDs and stuff, because I never use it.
No, exactly.
Anymore.
And then a lot of those players are like breaking down, right? Like over time, the CDs have scratches. Eventually, they get scratched up. No matter how good you try to take care of everything. And like vinyl, if you don't like properly store it, it starts to melt, and then gets worn down. And then also like the needles, like everything involved in what are they called? Not digital, but
the
analog players. They start breaking down over time, right? You got to buy a new one, and you got to like invest in that. And now you can buy like a $30 Alexa thing, or like a $50 Google thing, and then you literally have a speaker and a smart device at your fingertips whenever you need it. It's insane.
You know, that is a beautiful way to summarize it, to say that now, you know, in the past you were lugging, quote unquote, hundreds of pounds of equipment and materials, and now all you need is a speaker and a smart device, and you're on. Does that make does that so if you're trying to make a living as a DJ, this is not a good thing, is it?
You know what? There's pros and cons about it, right? So let's say back in the day when you wanted to DJ a nightclub, you would have to bring your whole setup, and you probably have to bring a big truck and load your speakers, your back then it was like CD players, or they have the Technique turntables. Now these clubs and restaurants, you just plug in a USB stick or an SD card, or whatever you want to do, and you just plug in, and you don't need a backpack. I mean, I guess you could bring like some headphones like this, but you could fit that in your pocket. You could literally show up with a USB in your pocket and some headphones in your pocket, and you're literally ready to DJ a nightclub. The biggest nightclubs in the world are set up like that. Bring a USB, and you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah. Well, like I say, but if I'm a DJ, I'm like, well, you know, anyone can do that, right? I mean, why? If anyone can walk in with the phone and speaker and a smart device, and fall in and say, I could put up a sign tomorrow, say, Kathy Norris, DJ. I got to come up with a name. Of course, that'll take me longer. Coming up with my name will take me longer than probably, you know, curating all the music. And then I present myself, but I am not you guys. How would that? What would my lack of experience, how would that come through, despite the fact that I had access to all this great technology? What are you guys bringing to the table that AI can't do, I think is what I think.
The number one thing is personality. That's the number one thing that sells us more than anything.
Yes, that's the number one marketing tool.
Anyone could have a replica of our DJ library, have the exact tools, because you can purchase your tools, right?
Your same setup, same.
You can have the same speaker, the same everything, but what separates you from the other DJs in the world is your personality.
Yeah. Wow. And as soon as you say that, that's so incredibly powerful, because I think what gets lost is that whole sense of human connection, and people are going to connect to the two of you. I mean, they just are. And in a way that they're not to just music that's that's playing that doesn't have any story behind it.
Exactly.
And so I guess I can tell my little nieces and nephews, yes, go ahead and be DJs. There's a future for you. Can I tell them that, you guys?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Can I tell them that? Okay.
Please do. Please do. We need more of us out there.
Idea of just of going from tons and tons of equipment down to nothing.
My back is thanking me for that, by the way, because
Sorry, what?
My back is thanking me for not bringing all this heavy equipment, right? You feel me?
Better believe it. It's called career longevity, because we got to come up with this fancy term for it. But that is really great. You've talked about how you've used AI in your work and in the ways it can assist in the creative process. Is there any way? Are there times, or are there in what ways can it limit creativity, or are there times when it's not helpful, when AI turns into the problem instead of the solution?
See, that's where we're at, like the crossroads right now, right? Like where a lot of my friends are telling us, like, hey, you should, type up. I mean, you should write emails using ChatGPT to cater to your clients. But as I don't know, as a perfectionist, I just love using my own brain power, and just them not getting a digital copy of what they think I like or what they think I sound like. That's the one thing I have to do myself. I have to email myself. I have to text myself. Those are the two things I do that I probably won't give up, because that's like the human in me. Like that's who I am. That's who I am.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we already do less than
100%.
Like every day I feel like people do less and less every day of reading, writing, just like these things are
it's like different.
It's so different now than
when you have a pen
growing up
in your hand and you're actually physically writing something. You're using parts of your brain that you need to exercise, right? And when you're typing,
if I can't write an email myself, I'm like, really? Like I have to use a robot to write me an email? Like, I don't know.
I mean, you could autocorrect for me, because I need that.
Yeah, that's different.
I'm cool with that.
Autocorrect, yes.
Yeah.
Or you could finish up like my sentences. That's cool. But I'm writing my email.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's for my client, if it's like a great tool to use AI for would be to maybe do, if I have like a newsletter, right? To send it out to everyone. Here, type this up for me. Here's a newsletter. Cool. I think in that way it's more general, because it's going to everybody, not just to one individual person. That's when the ChatGPT or AI could definitely write up some things for us, right? If it's like a general thing,
I guess
for everybody,
you could use it, but you're still using, instead of your own creative words, you're allowing that machine to, versus you writing it and then using MailChimp and it sends it out.
See,
so
the MailChimp's AI.
I know that also is a level of AI too. So
there's levels to this.
There's levels to it all, I guess.
There are levels and levels, and I want to make sure I'm clear on what I first heard you say is, when it comes to writing, I'm going to do it myself. And then I thought I heard you say, but something that might be for a more general audience, like a newsletter, I might be able to have a first draft done by ChatGPT. Did I get that right?
Yeah, like for that would be perfect for drafts, 100%.
Yeah. And I think, and this is something that I'm learning, that you guys are writers as well as DJs, as you attempt to communicate with your fans. I know writing for me, that first draft, writing is how I discover what I think. And so as I'm manually writing something and I go, oh, that's the wrong voice, or that's not what I want to say. But I have been experimenting with using ChatGPT for some first draft stuff. And for example, I asked ChatGPT to come up with DJ names.
That's cool.
didn't work out.
Oh yeah, and this is terrible. What did I do with those names? I'm going to have to
DJ K-Bot.
Yeah, it was hold on, let me see if I can find the file that's got those. Here we go. So I got Big Pimpin', Big Gemini, Big Whoop, Biggie D, Blue Pill, Castaway, Crush, Cuz, Freestyle, G Cali Flow, HNIC, Little Heartbreaker with a little heartbreaker with the heart icon, Scholar, Trank, Millennium, Old Greasy. I mean, it just went.
Oh my goodness. Big Pimpin', that's the one. DJ Big
Is that
Pimpin'.
the one?
It's
okay, guys.
We're done. We're done, everyone. I'm gonna have to change my name. Who you hired for your wedding? I hired DJ Big Pimpin'. You ever heard of him?
Can you believe it? I mean, it's just, I'm continually surprised by the things that they come up with. So we've talked about the creative process and AI, and are there any other potential risks that you see associated with AI? Jezzy, you hit upon, I guess, alienation among people as it currently exists. We're not connecting. We're not communicating. And you said something along the lines of, if I can't even sit down and write an email, well, come on.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Am I leaving anything else out?
I mean, I think that just stems from like how I grew up. Like my grandma from Mexico, like she's like, I can do it myself. Like I don't need your help. Like my 2 feet still work. You know, like that kind of stubbornness,
that pride, right?
That pride to like keep living and I guess that kind of resonates into what this is like the pride of like I can still use my brain to be creative, my brain to communicate, like you're saying. Like then why not? Why use kind of like a crutch?
Yeah.
But also it allows people to save time and to do other things that they would like to spend time like with their family. And they're like, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me out with my emails today.
Yeah,
I understand that too. So like there are like these.
Do that? I didn't know you. How can you use ChatGPT to help with your emails?
Yeah, like I know someone.
Yeah, you could be like write an email.
Write an email for me.
Write a thank you email in the voice of Tom Cruise. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Write an email into that. It ought to be write an email in the voice of Big Pimpin'. What are you talking about?
Oh, yes. Definitely Samuel L. Jackson, too, because he a lot of F-bombs in there, for sure.
That'd be funny.
For sure getting fired. But I think what I'm getting from AI the most, like my view to it as of today would have to be, as long as I'm physically and mentally able to complete a task on my own, and I have the amount of time, I will try to do it myself before going to a platform or AI or an app to like finish my writing for me. Okay. Right?
Sure. That makes sense. And I think a lot of people are coming up with their own metrics about when is it appropriate for me to use AI. And I think in the creative community, it's nice to hear the decisions that people are making, where they find it perfectly acceptable, where they think it's a bridge too far, where they think it's perfect to use or to stop. So I appreciate your time on this. Is there something that you would want to share that we haven't covered about your use of AI or AI in general?
Yeah. Well, for us as not just DJs, right? But we're also content creators. So when we're using certain apps, like we use CapCut to edit our videos.
I'm sorry, CapCut?
Yeah, CapCut.
Gotcha.
Which is owned by TikTok, I believe.
Yes.
And you're able to chop up videos, add audio, and a lot of that on there is using a lot of AI because it's finding the trending song for us sometimes. It's finding what transitions are best.
Yeah, it's auto-generating captions.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've noticed, like, a lot of these social platforms, everyone is using captions.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not
It's my favorite part about
even
it.
listening to audio anymore.
Yes.
They're on mute the whole time on their phone.
That's my favorite tool.
So they're on caption.
Right now is auto caption, because I know if you're at work or if you're at school and you want to just like check someone's stories or like check someone's new Instagram or TikTok, you're going to read what they're saying, because not everyone has their audio turned on full blast, right? So you can't even hear sometimes when you're watching content. So that's by far right now my favorite use of AI.
Yeah, that's definitely what we use it for. Sure.
I would never have guessed that. Which is why we have these conversations. So, you know, it's like, wow, I'll have to look into it. It's not so much for my writing, but just because, I mean, as you guys know, AI changes so rapidly, and what's popular today, who knows, you know, if it's going to be popular tomorrow. But I hear you. Anything else that we haven't covered during the podcast?
Yeah, I think we should also all take into consideration of how creative are we, right? How creative are we as individuals, and really make sure our character, our personality is being authentically shown to your audience, right? At all times. So who you are, your personality, your character are the two things that should always be authentically shown to your audience.
Here. I think the thing that I realized with these large language models for generative AI, where they're simply, you know, consuming just endless amounts of existing information and data, and to the extent that I, as a person of color, am not included in the data that's being swept up and analyzed, my voice is not heard. And I think that's an issue, and we want the content to be included because it is authentic that way. It is truly my voice. It is not someone's idea of who a Black woman in America of my age and demographic is. It's the real deal.
Yep.
So authenticity, you can, and the absence of authenticity, we all recognize immediately. You can't fake authenticity, or if you can, you know, you're really good, because
then you should be an actor.
You should be an actor, because you know, I think it's like those CGI computer generated images. You can pick them out instantly. There's something missing in the face, and you know, there's just no soul there. So we'll see how much longer that continues to be the case.
Yes, that's the other word that I forgot to use is soul.
Soul.
Right? That's
soul.
Yeah, that word right there hit home right now, because that's something that you don't get as an AI DJ. Like if you just use a Spotify account, and now there's actually, I think there's a Spotify DJ program inside of your Spotify where you can literally have it DJ your party now.
Really?
Yes, there's Spotify DJ on your phone.
But will they know, as you guys do, that not to play really uplifting songs when the other team scores?
It will not know that.
It will not.
It won't know.
It will not know that. It will not know when the bride's father is smiling, or if he's not smiling. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying this technology won't exist in the next 5 or 10 years. That technology might exist, where there's cameras everywhere and they're looking at everyone's faces, and it has
reaction.
Everyone's watching. It's like feeling your heartbeat. What rate is that? I'm serious. Yeah. I go know if your heart rate's being elevated.
Oh, I like this song. It starts beating faster.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's not too far, far-fetched that idea. It's gonna happen. But like I said, I feel like what's gonna separate us is that we actually make announcements. We actually connect with people. We smile at people. We look at everyone. Everyone seems to like a DJ that's a part of the party, not just like looking down at his laptop and just like in a serious face and just like, You know, it definitely helps when you're making eye contact with everyone. Like I do bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and lately they've been flying me to San Francisco, and I feel like the reason why they really like me is because I take the moment to like look at everyone and smile at everyone and just like really like dance and just like sing along and just like be a part of the party. And I feel like you won't get that same moment with artificial intelligence.
I totally agree. And I'm really happy that you can fly to San Francisco with just your phone and a thumb drive and
yes.
and not all those hundreds of pounds of equipment. No, it makes a huge difference. And I believe it. That little bit of human connection is the absence of which during COVID was very, very apparent. And we suffered as a society. So I believe you're right. I totally do. Well, you guys, I've run out of my list of questions. If there's anything, but is there anything I tend to be one of those folks that are in and out, and I don't want to run over anything. If there's stuff that you want to add, go ahead, please.
Is there anything you want to add, babe?
I think like also this all goes to show how powerful a human is. Like we imagine all these things back when like AI, you know, we like the movie AI was what in the 80s or something like that.
iRobot.
Yeah, iRobot, all these things, and they came into fruition. So it just speaks volumes on how powerful we are as humans, and we can really change the way that the future will be. So just you take that into consideration.
Yes.
Well, that's very positive and upbeat, which I just love. So, gosh,
it's like keeper.
Keeper. Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jezzy. Excuse me.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
And how can our listeners get in touch with you guys? What is your where can you be reached?
Yes, I probably check my Instagram better than I check my text messages. So if you want to get a hold of me, that's the way to get a hold of me is Instagram messages or even TikTok messages. And that it is just at DJ Mike Sincere, like my name. And then hers is
at DJ Jezzy B.
At DJ Jezzy B. All right. You guys, thank you so much for your time. I had a blast.
Thank you,
Kathy. You had me thinking about things that weren't on the radar, which I just love. So thank you again. Truly, you guys have a fabulous rest of your day. Okay.
We love you, Kathy. Take care.